Hi, my name is Emma Williams, and I'm the children's pastor at Grace Chapel. And today I wanted to talk to you about my first venture out into the world since all of this coronavirus hit our area with my 3-year-old. We have a 3-year-old named Henry. And to stay safe and to keep us all healthy, we have mostly stayed at home this whole time, except for going out in the neighborhood, going on walks, going to the pool, staying distanced from each other. And so Henry and I have been mostly home, but it was time for his 6-month dental appointment. And so we just decided, I just want to keep up with those and keep him practiced in that. And also his hair had gotten so long. It really needed a cut. And so I decided that we would just go in and make a day or a morning of it and get these little errands taken care of. And this was the first time that Henry has been out into the world, actually stepping foot somewhere else. Since probably the beginning of March. So he was pretty excited. And our dentist office has a train that runs around the top of the ceiling. So it's really a win-win for him. So we went out to the dentist, and I told him that we would have to wear our masks. And Henry thinks that these all look like ninja masks. So whenever he sees people wearing masks, he asks why they're wearing ninja masks. And so I put my mask on before we got into the dentist office, and he asked me why we were wearing masks again, and I explained to him that we're wearing a mask because of all the germs, and he knows that, we can't go to the playground because of the germs, and we've talked about that, and so he understands that to some extent. And so I told him, the mask keeps my germs to myself so other people won't get my germs. And that was a good enough explanation for Henry, and he was happy to wear a ninja mask. So we went inside and did the dentist and got our hair cut, and that was that. And it made me think about, there's been a lot of growth in what we understand masks to do, and sometimes I feel like I honestly don't understand what masks do. But when you have to explain it to a 3-year-old, you kind of get down to the very brass tacks of things, and it certainly doesn't make things easier. I don't know if you've ever taken a 3-year-old to the dentist, but you want them to say ah so that the dentist can count their teeth, but if you're trying to get them to do that like this, say ah, it makes it a little harder. Masks don't make things easier, they make them a little more difficult, but we do it to keep people safe. Not even necessarily to keep ourselves safe, but we do it to keep others safe. And it made me think of, we're in after Pentecost and the season after Pentecost, and it makes me think of a common language that we have. And so I'm going to read from Acts, from the 2nd chapter, beginning with the 1st verse. When the day of Pentecost had come, they were all together in one place, and suddenly from heaven there came a sound like a rush of violent wind, and it filled the entire house where they were sitting. Divided tongues as of fire appeared among them, and a tongue rested on each of them. All of them were filled with the Holy Spirit, and it began to speak in other languages as the Spirit gave them ability. Now there were devout Jews from every nation under heaven living in Jerusalem, and at this sound the crowd gathered and was bewildered because each one heard them speaking in the native language of each. And so it made me think, during this season after Pentecost, when we're all away from each other, when we're all not speaking to each other, when I'm not able to smile at the person I see getting donuts after we go to the dentist, what is our common language? What is the language that each of us understand? And it reminded me that I put on a mask because right now we're looking for common languages of compassion with each other. It doesn't make my life easier, but it makes everyone safer. This is our common language. We don't understand that we'll all speak in languages that each of us will understand differently, but we do know that we can speak in a language that each of us will understand non-verbally. And our actions of compassion, of love, of hope. It also made me think right now of a quote that actually I remembered because I put on my Facebook very embarrassingly, probably when Facebook started to exist. And it's kind of stuck with me for that long. We don't have to talk about how long that is. But it's from a rabbi who was a civil rights activist with Dr. Martin Luther King. And it said, "For many of us, the march from Selma to Montgomery was both protest and prayer. Legs are not lips, and walking is not kneeling, and yet our legs uttered songs. Even without words, our march was worship. I felt my legs were praying." That was Abraham Joshua Heschel. And man, that reminded me that our marching is a common language that we understand, and it is prayer. And just like our masks show that we are protecting others, as we sit together, allies, people feeling oppressed, as a community, how do we heal? We heal when we realize that we are an Acts 2 church who's come and trying to speak one language, a language that everyone understands together. What are the things we can do that show our compassion, that show our love, the ways that we can come together? And so that's what I'll be thinking about this week, and I hope you will as well.